Everybody ready? Would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of the regular meetings on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and by providing a copy of the annual notice of the regular meetings for the year 2016 to the Glen Ridge paper, the Glen Ridge Voice, the Montclair Times, and to the Star Ledger on Tuesday, January 5th, 2016, and by filing said notice in the office of the municipal clerk. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilperson Hughes is absent. Councilperson Wasovich.
Here.
Councilperson Lapkovich.
Here.
Dawson.
Here.
Murphy.
Here.
Morrow.
Here.
Mayor Patrick.
Thank you, Michael. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the October 25th meeting. I so move. Thank you. Paul, second? I'll second. Thank you, Dan. Anybody have anything to bring up on those minutes? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilperson Wasovich.
Aye.
Lapkovich.
Aye.
Dawson.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays. The motion carries.
Thank you. Are there any written communications?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Received a letter from Sarah Hatcher of the Superior Court of New Jersey regarding criminal justice reform, and they also volunteered to have a representative come and brief the council on the program. Received a letter from Sustainable New Jersey stating that we have achieved Sustainable New Jersey Silver recertification, which is the highest certification from the organization. And finally received from Janice Talley, the planner, director of planning and community development for Montclair, the draft historic preservation plan element, a copy of which is in the clerk's office in room 102 in the municipal building. And that concludes correspondence.
Will you please file the correspondence? This is the time for comments of the public. Is anybody here that would like to be heard? Give your name and address, please.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Council. For the record, I'm Deborah Collins. I am the Deputy County Administrator, Director of Small Business Development, and the Affirmative Action Officer for the great County of Essex. I have a few announcements for you this evening. The first is regarding our Fall-Winter 2016 Bug Club. It is, of course, we extend an invitation to you from the Essex County Executive and the Board of Chosen Freeholders. It is a club specifically for 6 to 10-year-olds. The next session will take place November 15th. There will be one following that on December 13th, and I will leave announcements with the clerk's office. That will be the case, in fact, for everything that I present to you this evening. Let's see, November 16th, Frog Pond Science Club for 5 to 9-year-olds, $8 per child per session. And I won't go through every detail except to say that, of course, if anyone is interested, kindly call 973-228-8776. That's 973-228-8776. The Essex County Vocational Technical Schools presents College and Career Preparation. This event will take place on November 19th from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Newark Tech Gym. That's 91 West Market Street, Newark, New Jersey. And it's for all Essex County 7th and 8th grade students and their families. It's an open house. The next is a bird club. The upcoming date is December 8th, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. for 5 to 10-year-olds, $8 per session. Again, for more information about the Bird Club, please call 973-228-8776. We also would like to invite everyone to the 2016 Little Explorers Fall Nature Program, preschool program for children ages 3.5 to 5 years. The fee is $9 per child per class. The next and last session will take place on Thursday, November 17th. It's a harvest feast at our Lenape Village. Same telephone number for that event. And the next is a Little Explorers Tots Fall Nature Program. The next event is November 18th, Thanking Nature in November. Tots are children up to 3 years of age, $9 per child per class. And last but not least, the Office of Small Business Development and Affirmative Action will host a home improvement contractors seminar on Thursday, December 8th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at McClune's Boathouse Restaurant. It is a free program, but registration is required. To register, call 973-621-2011. That's 973-621-2011. The topics include the following: registering as a home improvement contractor, regulations and laws that control HICs and their contracts, and clauses required by law to be in a home improvement contract. So that these are this evening's announcements, and I will leave all copies of these flyers with the clerk. Thank you for your attention. Do you have any questions or concerns that you'd like me to take back to the county?
No, I think we're good.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Michael, how are we going to get all this information disseminated?
Well, basically, what we'll do is pass synopsis and send out email blasts. And then also what we do sometimes is link to the county's website for their programs.
Good. Makes sense. Well, I guess there's nobody else being heard out there. Thank you. I have a couple announcements. At our next council meeting on November 28th, we will have the second reading of the R1 zoning ordinance. If anybody is interested in that, you should probably come forward. Also, we, on our December 12th meeting, 2 meetings from now, will be having an information hearing for the town on the builder's remedy lawsuit that we are a party to at this time. And our special master, Betsy McKinsey, will be here to explain what the builder's remedy lawsuit entails and the complexities that it raises for the administrators of the town in making a decision moving forward. So we hope anybody that's interested in that particular issue is here for the public meeting, and we will certainly put out notification way ahead of time. Michael, have you got anything else on that?
No, Mr. Mayor.
That's December 12th, right, Mayor?
That is December 12th, that is correct. I have no other comments, so Councilman Hughes is not here. Councilman David Lepowitz, you have Mr. Hughes.
Sure. So in place of Councilperson Hughes, I'll just bring up a few resolutions from the Finance and Administration Committee. The first is resolution number 124-16, that the following claims be approved and warrants be drawn. Notably, the current fund, $5.2 million, most of which is the borough acting in our capacity as a tax collector, passing on $2.4 million to the Board of Ed and $2.1 million to the county. There's also payroll and the various other funds. So I would like to move this resolution.
You've heard the rest.
My second.
Thank you, Paul. Any comments on this? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilperson Wasovich.
Aye.
Lefkowitz.
Aye.
Dawson.
Aye.
Murphy.
Morrow. 5 ayes, no nays. The resolution is approved.
Thank you.
Next, I have resolution number 125-16, which authorizes the insertion into the fiscal 2015 municipal budget under New Jersey state law of a special item of revenue in the form of a State of New Jersey body armor grant. We've received $2,906 from the State of New Jersey for body armor replacement, and in response to that, there's a revision to the budget in the sense of a revenue item of $2,344.57.
before I move the resolution, let me just ask for clarity, Mike. I had meant to ask this before, just to explain the difference between the $2,900 that we received and the $2,300 that's the revised item in the budget. Why the difference?
Okay, I believe that was corrected for the 2,300. So the final printing would be $2,344.57, both as a revenue and an appropriation.
I see. So that's the amount that we actually received from the state?
Yes.
I see. Okay, fine. Right. So with that cleared up, I would like to move this resolution.
Second.
You've heard the resolution. Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
Thank you, Paul. Any questions or comments?
Question for the chief. Ballpark, how much does one thing cost?
So body armor, which is mandatory for each police officer to wear in certain circumstances, not but definitely in uniform, ranges anywhere brand new from $850 to about $1,000, depending on the grade that we get and the size of it. And generously, for many years, the Rotary has always purchased them for the new officers, so then they need to be replaced every 5 years. So that's what we use the body armor. Grant, you can only use $500 as well for each vest from body armor. So for the officers that are not new to the job, our clothing line picks up the anything in excess of 5, and for the new officers, the Rotary has been kind enough to do that for us for many years.
Okay. Will clerk please call the roll?
Councilperson Lisovich.
Aye.
Lefkowitz.
Aye.
Dawson.
Aye.
Murphy. Morrow.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays. The resolution is approved.
And finally, the Finance and Administration Committee has Resolution 126-16, which is a little long and involved, but essentially is the renewal of the Borough of Glen Ridge and our contract for coverage under the insurance coverage under the Public Alliance Insurance Coverage Fund for workers' comp, liability, public excess liability, public officials, and so on. So I don't think I need to read the whole thing, do I?
No.
Right. So I would like to move this resolution as well.
I will second the motion.
Thank you, Paul. Any comments on this resolution? Will clerk please call the roll?
Councilperson Lisovich.
Aye.
Lefkowitz.
Aye.
Dawson. Aye. Murphy.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays. The resolution is approved.
And that's all for the Finance and Administration Committee.
Paul?
Okay, Mr. Mayor, for public safety, I simply have 2 ordinances tonight. The first one is our famous foul regulation, so I have ordinance number 1647 for final reading.
Mayor, could you speak to the record?
This ordinance has been properly posted and advertised in accordance with the state statute.
I declare that the meeting open for discussion of this ordinance and only this ordinance, this being the time and place for the public hearing. Would anybody who wishes to be heard on this ordinance come forward? Seeing no comments forthcoming, I declare this public hearing closed.
Mr. Mayor, I move that this ordinance be finally passed.
I second the motion.
I assume that we have changed all the foul language?
Yes, we have.
Well, that's great.
I was about to say, without any further comment, but...
I'm not going to let you get by on that one. Okay.
I was at the girls' soccer team. Congratulations to the Glen Ridge High School girls who won their sectional final the other day, and this foul regulation was brought up a number of times for comment to me.
Boy, we're going to miss this
So
one.
yes, we are. So, okay.
Did somebody second that? I'm sorry.
I did.
Thank you, David. So you've heard the motion by Councilperson Lisovich, seconded by Councilman Lefkowitz. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilperson Lisovich.
Aye.
Lefkowitz.
Aye.
Dawson.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Morrow.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nays. The ordinance is passed on final reading.
Very good, thanks.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I also have ordinance number 1648 for final reading. This is the stop sign designation amendment.
Mayor, just to state for record that this ordinance
Has been properly advertised and posted in accordance with the state statute.
I declare the meeting open for discussion of this ordinance and only this ordinance, this being the time and place for the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to be heard on this? With no further comments forthcoming, I declare this public hearing closed.
Now, I move that this ordinance be finally passed.
I'll second that.
You have heard the motion of Councilperson Lesovich and seconded by Councilman Dawson. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilperson Lesovich.
Aye.
Lefkowitz.
Aye.
Dawson.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Morrow. 5 ayes, no nays. The ordinance is approved on final reading.
Thank you.
And that's all I have tonight. Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Paul. David?
For the Community Affairs and Public Relations Committee, I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Art?
May I have a brief report from the Public Works? We've begun leaf pickup. The Borough of Glen Ridge has contracted a truck to specifically pick up bagged leaves at curbside beginning the week of November 7th and terminating December 28, 2016. Residents must use biodegradable bags or clear plastic bags. No black bags will be accepted for pickup. These curbside pickups will be made on your first scheduled garbage collection each week. Leaves may not be raked onto the streets or gutters in the borough. Some towns around us do encourage that, but we don't do that for the reason that if you get a heavy rain, that'll block up all the catch basins. So you may not put any leaves into the streets or gutters. Also, during this time of the year, please look out for crews working in the roadway. In addition to cleaning our streets, the crews will be setting up for the Ashenfelder 8K, which will be held Thanksgiving morning. Thank you for your cooperation. I also have ordinance number 1649, yes. It's an ordinance to appropriate capital improvement funds for various capital improvements and equipment.
Mr. Mayor, just to state,
Final reading.
Mr. Mayor, just to state for the record that this ordinance has been properly advertised and posted in accordance with the state statute.
I declare the meeting open for discussion of this ordinance and only this ordinance, this being the time and place for the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to be heard? Seeing nobody, I declare this public hearing closed.
Mr. Mayor, I move this ordinance be finally passed.
Your second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Dan. You've heard the motion of Councilperson Dawson, seconded by Councilman Murphy. Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilperson Lesovich.
Aye.
Lefkowitz.
Aye.
Dawson.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Morrow. 5 ayes, no nays. The ordinance is passed on final reading.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Dan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a brief note about the Ashenfelder 8K Classic and the Tom Fleming Mile on Thanksgiving morning, where we'll be hosting roughly 4,000 participants and spectators to the borough, and we're looking forward to it. Been working especially close with the Public Safety Department chief to make sure that this event goes off without any problems.
Well, if you keep up what you've been doing in the past, there will be no problems.
Murphy's Law says you don't say those things. You just don't say those things. But, yeah, the price increase for the event goes up on Thursday morning at 12 a.m. So if you're interested in running and you want to avoid a price increase, please register in the next couple of days. Otherwise, we'll be happy to take your money right up until the gun goes off.
Very good.
How many people do you have so far, roughly?
We're a little bit down, I think, because a lot of folks are distracted by the election. We're about halfway there. I expect a big rush because they usually come through the mail towards the end of the week before Thanksgiving because people wait for the last minute to get them registered the last minute. We've been out posting on Facebook, direct mail, email, and also through our score. So everybody who ran last year knows about the race, and hopefully we can get those folks to come out to this one and beat last year's attendance record.
It was a record. Last year's attendance record was a record before that.
Yeah, every year we're about 10% over.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. T-shirts look great, and everything's coming together.
Great.
So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Dan. Anne Marie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have just one item. The planning board met last Wednesday evening for purposes of reviewing ordinance 1642, that's the R1 zoning change. The ordinance was reviewed by the planning board for consistency with the borough's master plan. We discussed and reviewed, as we did here 2 weeks ago. The planning board did determine the ordinance was consistent with the master plan, so we can proceed with the publication and the second reading.
Great.
That's all I have.
Okay, this is time for the comments of the administrator and department heads. Michael?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. On this Saturday, the 19th, the borough, along with the Rotary Club, sponsoring a food drive, will be collecting frozen turkeys, canned goods, and of course, monetary contributions are welcome. The drive will be held at the train station from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I just want to thank the past support the Rotary has received in the drive. Every year it seems that we're setting records too with our food drive. Also at the same day, the Kiwanis Club's going to have their clothing and household goods drive, and that will occur at the high school. And that concludes my report.
That benefits the Big Brothers and the Sisters, the organization. Yeah,
This coming Saturday. Yeah, and the food drive benefits the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. We've been working with them the past 16 years.
Well, my wife went to Acme, and she's checking out, and she had just a little over $100. They said, well, you get a free turkey. We gave her, a 14 or 15-pound turkey, which was going to end up in your food try. So anybody wanting to jump on their food, it's a good time to go to Acme, I guess. John?
Mayor, I have a couple of things I want to report on tonight. It's generally the policy of the borough that we don't comment on active litigation until the time comes when we can. And there are three pending matters that I do think it would be good to discuss. Two of them deal with boundary disputes involving the municipality, and the third one involves the builder's remedy lawsuit that you alluded to earlier tonight, Mayor. The first two really go back to 1895, I guess, when the borough seceded from Bloomfield. And, it's an arcane thing, but you wonder how boundaries are fixed when one county secedes from another. And in 1928, there were some resolutions that were passed where some lands that were in Glen Ridge were ceded to Bloomfield for taxation purposes, and some lands that were in Bloomfield were ceded to Glen Ridge for taxation purposes. The litigation in question tonight that we're talking about deals with homes on Stonehouse, and these are properties that are, by and large, physically situated in Glen Ridge, but pay their taxes to the town of Bloomfield. Residents of 26 Stonehouse has a lawsuit pending against the borough and the Glen Ridge Board of Education because the children who live in that home could not go to Glen Ridge schools after a certain date. And they feel that that's a denial of due process. They weren't properly notified. That matter has been removed by the Glen Ridge Board of Education to federal court. So this is now a federal proceeding. The people who bought 26 Stonehouse, together with two other people who are on 16 Stonehouse and 20 Stonehouse, have also brought litigation. Theirs is more prospective in that they want their children to attend Glen Ridge schools, but because of the way the New Jersey laws are, they pay taxes to Bloomfield even though the properties are in Glen Ridge, and so they must go to the Bloomfield schools. The borough is involved only because of laws that we passed in 1928. Where children go to school really is a function of laws passed by the New Jersey legislature, and the laws changed over the years. A number of years ago, it used to be wherever you slept. You know, if the bedroom you were in happened to be in one town versus another, if you were in one of these towns where you had a property line going through it, you would go where you slept. But, you know, the legislature had changed all that, and now it's where you pay taxes. And, you know, I don't want to use the word interesting. That's always a bad word to use with litigation, but it's a case that's now in federal court. They're challenging the constitutionality of statutes. I think the state of New Jersey is ultimately going to be involved. The town of Bloomfield will be involved. The Bloomfield Board of Education will be involved. The Glen Ridge Board of Education is involved, and we are involved. We're trying to minimize what we do because the only role that we played was fixing boundaries with Bloomfield in 1928, and our position is that anyone who bought a home after 1928 would know that's what the law was. It's subject to the law. In the case of the Board of Ed, you know, it might be a different situation because that law changed 3 or 4 times over the years. And the people that are impacted by it, while they pay taxes to Bloomfield, want to send their children to the Glen Ridge schools. So anyway, I just want, you know, the mayor and council to be aware that this matter is pending. These matters are pending, and we'll see where they go. The other thing, which is the builder's remedy lawsuit that you alluded to before, Mayor, that's one which you know, the borough was very, very much affected by, and this really stems from the law in New Jersey that all municipalities are required to provide affordable housing, and we certainly recognize that we do have that obligation. When this law was established, all municipalities were required to adjust their master plan to see what their affordable housing obligation was. And Glen Ridge complied with that and got what they call round 1 certification, and that was a requirement of 28 units. And while we had no land to do that, we did do an overlay of zoning in certain areas of the town that should that land become available, affordable housing would be put there. There was a round 2 certification process. There was a round 3 certification process. Glen Ridge did not participate in that because the no land we had in 1995 was the same no land we had in later years. So we did not participate in that. While this was going on, there was a regulatory body established, the Council on Affordable Housing, and that was to oversee all of these things. Last year, the New Jersey Supreme Court declared the Council on Affordable Housing to be an inactive organization and basically said it was no longer functioning. And as a result of that, it threw open the doors to the courts to resolve any issues that involve affordable housing. Well, what has happened to us at Glen Ridge, and this is what brings us to the builder's remedy lawsuit that you alluded to, Glen Ridge Developers, which is a limited liability company, has acquired, or is in the process of acquiring, 5 lots in Glen Ridge. These are all on Baldwin Street, lots 2, 3, 4, 9, and 10. These are properties that are across the street from the Minnie Lucy School, across the street from Washington Field, and I guess more better known down the street from DeColas, for those who are looking for a geographical reference. And that lawsuit is pending, and the land in question is about 2.3 acres. And the developer has sought to build 125 units on that site. And that's what that litigation is about. We are not alone. We are not alone. I would say all of the towns that are in what's known as the West Essex area are all involved either in a builder's remedy lawsuit or they're seeking to have plans certified that would prevent them from being subject to a builder's remedy lawsuit. And these are the cases that are now pending. We have had a special master appointed for this case, and as you alluded to earlier, Mayor, that special master will be coming to address the Mayor and Council and the public on December 12th at a meeting here. And I think the important thing for us all to know is that in a builder's remedy lawsuit, zoning is not a defense. The fact that these are single-family homes in an R1 single-family zone is not a defense to a builder's remedy lawsuit in a case such as Glen Ridge, where we have not realized, while we may have zoned for, we have not realized our affordable housing obligation. So that being said, the zoning there is basically thrown out the window, and a builder is entitled to construct the project, basically with unlimited number of units. The only constraint would be sound planning principles, which would be things such as traffic, massing and that type of thing. We've been actively involved with the special master, and the special master will be bringing everyone more current when she is here on December the 12th.
Thank you, John. Is there anything new and unfinished business?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Then this is the time for hearing from the public. Would anybody like to be heard? Come on, Peter.
Thanks for calling.
The mic is right in the middle of the rail.
I don't want to have the curb cut as an excuse this time. Boy, what a week it's been, huh? I like that I heard you laughing because I feel like I'm in a farce. Let me tell you what happened. To Chief Byron, who wasn't here last time, I talked about being stranded on the corner because I went to the post office when there were crossing guards, and when I tried to get back, I was stranded. I did my best, but could not feel confident in stepping into the street, so yelled, "Help!" and got to safe ground. Anyway, by the way, as an addition, like the last time I came to this meeting, I came in through the library, and on the second floor, I said, I need to go to the municipal building. They said, it's closed. I said, I think there's a meeting tonight. And she eventually relented, let me in the elevator, and sure enough, there was a meeting. Tonight, the reason I'm late, I didn't say the Pledge of Allegiance. That wasn't unpatriotic. I just was held up in the library again. They assured me that this meeting is Tuesday night. Then she got on the phone and said, no, it's tonight. So, anyway, it's all over the place. And it's kind of airborne pathogen. But, okay, here we go. I was speaking to Tara, the administrator, who deserves a raise, if you ask me. She's wonderful. But I was asking her, actually, about Mr. Rojas' email address, because now I'm in touch with the ADA compliance person in New Jersey, and I wanted to pass his email address to her, because I wanted to know at least some amount of, like, what research went into coming to the conclusion that this is the optimum curb cut. I get the feeling there is no such thing. Which actually, in a way, I was vindicated because of what happened at the George Washington Bridge. You know, I mean, you can say the busiest bridge in America, and on a certain morning, they put down traffic cones because they're doing a traffic study. Turns out there was no such traffic study. It wasn't authorized. They held up traffic for days, and a woman named Bridget Kelly said, I thought there was a traffic study. Yeah, come on. I know in Glen Ridge, if you wanted to stop the traffic from going into Bloomfield Avenue, you would need, well, at least a week, maybe months of notification. No one would put down traffic cones and stop traffic on Ridgewood Avenue on notification of that morning. In other words, it is that crazy. So if I refer to a traffic cone, I mean this kind of crazy, unresearched, whatever, with no authority. Someone putting down traffic cones saying, he told me. Turns out the people at the top of that, they're going to prison because they were lying. So anyway, so I'm doing my own study. So when I was speaking to Tara, and she told me that she's also in charge of, well, and other things, if we want to make a film here, she would need to get a permit. And, of course, he would need days in advance. I said, what if it was just a simple, like a student project, and I just wanted to do a kind of truth or dare kind of thing, where stop a pedestrian and say, put on this blindfold, use this cane, and I challenge you to walk around the intersection, right? Because they just want to see if they would do it. And Tara said, that would be illegal, because I'm risking their life. Well, I'll tell you something. You don't need a pilot's license to own one of these. I bought one. I went to a store in New York, bought one, walked out of the store, started swinging around. I remember what I said. I said, I feel like I'm out on parole. It was like I have some freedom. Okay? This is not a pilot's license to operate this. Apparently, I can cross that intersection. It's good enough for me. But if I offered someone $5 to walk across, it would be illegal because I'd be risking their life, which is notably absurd. If it's too dangerous for the average person to do it on it, as a dare for $5, why is it safe enough for me? It's basically, what I'm saying is, don't think of blind people as somehow gifted. I didn't need I didn't need a pilot's license to buy one of these. So there's not some kind of mystical expertise that comes into play. It is as dangerous for me as it would be for the person who it would be illegal for me to offer him money to do it, okay? Don't mystify the experience. It's harrowing. Anyway, so I had friends of a friend of mine was in town, and he's saying they have these, they're similar in Hong Kong. He lives in Hong Kong. They're doing the same craziness there. But, so he walked around the neighborhood, and he said, he looked at the slate, they're so much 4 inches high. And even on Mead Terrace, 3 inches high. This is not, I'm not making this up, it's not farcical. If someone had a wheelchair and he was able to get on those curbs that are nicely leveled out, treacherously for me, of course, there's no way that person in a wheelchair could roll on these sidewalks. It's just absurd. He's like, okay, you're on the sidewalk, now you get stopped by the sidewalk itself. And Mead Terrace, where I live, it's steep enough. There's no way someone in a wheelchair would be able to go up Mead Terrace, the street I live on, grew up on. I've lived on for 40-something years. I can walk up it, but if I had a wheelchair, you can't get up with the slate. But if I got to the top, I could conveniently roll into the street. But if I went down Highland, again, 3-inch, basically, it's not useful to someone in a wheelchair. Do I need to say more? It's like, okay, they can roll conveniently into the street and out, but once they're on the sidewalk, you get stopped by these disruptions in the slabs. Now, what I'm saying is, it's quite obviously absurd. My brother was driving around looking at all the intersections. There's not enough consistency to use a cookie cutter to fix these curbs. There's no consistency, and basically I'm using, my feet. If I get to the edge and I'm like, am I 90 degrees? If I walk straight, will I be in the crosswalk? The answer is no. And there's no consistency. It's a folly. It is a folly to wipe away these curbs, and my suspicion is that there hasn't been any research that went into this mandate. That's why I was referring to the traffic cones. It's just a command that came down from somewhere, and once you start researching it, in the case of the George Washington Bridge, there were people who were lying and going to jail. In the case of this Americans with Disabilities Act, and like I said, I got a childhood friend, who worked with Senator Torricelli on this legislation. I said, wasn't there any talk about what a hazard this would be to blind people? And he said, no. So what I'm concluding is, and what I would exhort Glen Ridge to do, is to say, wait a minute, this is not a valid law. It has not been researched. They do not, and that's why I'm telling, her name is Crystal Sections, the New Jersey person in head of this, and she now has Mr. Rohi's email address. She can email. Basically, I said, send any information. How much latitude do we have for modifying, at least on my block, so I can walk a little more safely and not break my hip again? I said, how much latitude? I don't think she's emailed anything back. I don't think this documentation I'm looking for about the research that went into this and the impact it would have on blind people, I don't think it exists any more than this traffic study for George Washington Bridge.
Peter, we've been through this with you before. We've told you that we would try and accommodate you.
And I said
I asked you to speak with Mr. Rohel about it. The ADA is a federal law that we, as the Borough of Glen Ridge, have to comply with.
And
we don't make the law, we have to obey the law.
No, you don't.
We have told, excuse me, Peter.
Believe me, you don't.
Peter, I think what you would be best served is working with Tara and Mr. Rohel, and we vowed to you to try and make your area as safe as we can within the existing law. But to talk about the basis of the law, which we've done now, you've done it 3 times with us, we feel for you. We want to help you, okay? But complaining about the law that exists and actually...
I don't know that the law exists. I'm trying to find out if the law exists.
But going out and trying to help you by actively making your neighborhood as safe as we can is something else. We can't do that in this room. You need to do that outside this room with Michael and Tara, and we vow to try and do that for you.
Okay, what I'm suggesting is that this law is not valid because it has been researched thoroughly. They haven't been presented with the research, and what I'm saying is that no more curb cuts should happen. In fact, it's likely that they'll all have to be undone. Which is good, I guess, because you get paid twice to cut the curbs away and put them back, because they're really hazardous, and there's no research that went into that. I'm trying to get the research. How did they come up with this? You know? And I get the feeling it's a little more hollow. It's maybe less hollow than the traffic cones, but I'm telling my hunch is that you're going to go up a few steps and people are going to say, oh, I don't know. And there's going to be no validity to this. And anyway, so what I'm suggesting here is no more curb cuts until we nail this down. I need to make sure this law is legitimate. That's all I want to say, because I don't want to get hurt anymore. Or anyone else.
Mr. Mayor, to add on to Councilperson Lesovich, next time you call Tara, if you could have her transfer me, if I could find out the specific intersections that you use and you're concerned with, that would be a big help. Also, we delayed all our projects until next year because of the governor's moratorium. However, to proceed with those projects, we need to put ADA ramps in. It is a federal law. In fact, I think it was Philadelphia had paid excessive fines for not complying with the ADA law. So, and as I said to you before, Philadelphia and several other major cities were fined for not complying with the ADA requirements for ramps. And I believe it was Philadelphia as one of them. And as I told you at the last meeting, I think on the 21st, I'll be going down to the Institute of Advanced Infrastructure and Technology. We're having a symposium on ADA compliance.
So is there, and I would like you to find out if there's, well, you know, for marketing they have test tracks and whatever, your underwriter's laboratory test out things. There are kitchens where they test out products before they put them on the market. I would like to know if this was tested, and if there's a place I can go and find out where they came up with this optimum solution.
Okay, I'll inquire about that, what testing they did and what type of
Huh?
I'll inquire at the conference about what type of testing was done and what type of results they received prior to the passage of the ADA Compliance Act.
Okay. If I can't get around my neighbor, someone tells me this testing wasn't very good.
Michael, I forgot to ask Sheila whether she had anything for us this evening. I'm sorry, Sheila.
And I did. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to thank the library. Obviously, last week we all celebrated Veterans Day, and the library was kind enough to allow us to nominate Sergeant Anthony Mazza, one of the veterans whose picture and bio is being celebrated, I think, through the end of the month. He's one of our own police sergeants, so I thought that was renominated, and of course, the library director was kind enough to follow through with that. Also, I know Councilman Murphy talked about the 8K race. You're going to start seeing Glen Ridge announcements going out this year in addition to other safety aspects. We really want to make sure that our residents follow the law regarding not removing their car from their driveway during the race, So we're going to really be strictly enforcing that this year, so really trying to get the word out to everybody. And also just to encourage all the residents to utilize our medicine drop box that's now in the lobby of headquarters. We unveiled it a few weeks ago, and there's definitely some good research out there that if people remove unwanted or any type of medicine from their home when they no longer need it, that it does also have a crime prevention component. There are many people entering homes illegally, actually looking for medication, opiates in particular. So it's got lots of different aspects that are positive. It's open 24/7, 365 right at the police desk. Thank you.
Thank you, sorry. Okay, David, do you have a motion for us?
I do. I would like to move that we adjourn this meeting.
All those in favor?
I'm in favor.
Aye.
Adjourned. Sorry. Fascinated by John over here.
Oh, Chris.